Okay, so I'm kind of in between two things. I'm not sure if I should do the grass-fed free-range turkey burger or should I get the quinoa salad?
Quinoa salad's my favorite.
Okay, I'm gonna do the quinoa salad, but can I get it with the cashew mayo vegan ranch? But can I have that on the side?
Sure, no problem.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll be right back with those duck sausage sliders.
This is a fun place, huh?
Yeah. I don't know, don't you think it's a little pretentious?
What? How?
Duck sausage sliders, vegan cashew mayo, and what's with the black bars on the top and on the bottom? It makes everything so wide.
Aha! I thought you'd never ask. You see, this scene is letterboxed because it was shot in a wider aspect ratio than the typical YouTube player. I think it really classes up the place, don't you?
Hello my friends, I'm Professor Hans von Puppet. Welcome to Pocket Film School, your handy online reference guide to better filmmaking. Aspect ratio is simply the ratio of the width of a movie frame or any image to its height. This very cinematic restaurant scene was shot in the 2.35 aspect ratio. That means it's 2.35 units wide to 1 unit high. This is how they used to and still do shoot a lot of your big Hollywood blockbusters. But let's put this into perspective with a little history. When motion picture film was first standardized, the frame was set at an aspect ratio of 4:3, or 1.33 to 1. Since this was standardized by the Motion Picture Academy of America, you've heard of them with the Academy Awards, this was and still is called Academy Aspect Ratio.
Come on, Rocco, it's not what you think.
Sure, I got it all twisted.
When talkies came in, they standardized the frame rate to 24 frames per second, so they could synchronize the picture with the sound, but the shape of the frame stayed the same. Even in glorious Technicolor films like Gone with the Wind or Robin Hood or this masterpiece, the frame was still 4:3. Then in the late 40s, television was invented. Its aspect ratio was also 4:3. But even though most TV was not color until the mid-1960s, the movie studios worried about people staying home to watch TV. To make movies a bigger event, worth going out and paying money for, they started making movies wider. First, there was Cinerama with the aspect ratio of 2.66 to 1. This was awesome, but it took 3 cameras rolling in perfect sync to shoot it, and 3 projectors lined up on a curved screen to show it. This was cumbersome and expensive and fraught with registration problems, so only a handful of feature films were ever shot this way. Then there were other widescreen formats like Ultra Panavision 70 at 2.76 to 1. But in 1953, Panavision and Todd A.O. both developed single camera systems for shooting films in the 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio. Not as wide, but still pretty darn wide. This really caught on, and they are still using these formats today. But shooting in these formats was and still is cumbersome and expensive. That's why most films of a less than epic scale are shot in 1:8:5 aspect ratio. That's 1.85 times as wide as it is tall.
See, honey, look at this. Isn't this better? Isn't this more comfortable?
Shh, use a napkin. So what about TV, Professor?
Ah, I'm glad you asked that, darling.
Through the end of the 20th century, TVs remained in the 4:3 aspect ratio. So pre-widescreen movies fit perfectly, but widescreen films have to be altered to fit the screen. Before letterboxing got more popular in the DVD era, widescreen films were panned and scanned for television. They would transfer the films to video, cropping off the sides and choosing what part of the frame to show you when. Then they would do an anamorphic squeeze to cram in everything when they absolutely had to, like for the end credits. When they started making HD TVs at the beginning of this century, the industry settled on the aspect ratio of 1.78 to 1, or 16:9. Now, every TV you see at Fry's or Best Buy is in the 16:9 aspect ratio, and so is YouTube. That's nearly as wide as films made in 1:8:5. Now, most films fit better on television with minimal cropping. It may not be perfect, but for most people, it's close enough. And if a film is letterboxed, shrinking it to fit, the high-definition signal coming from Netflix or your Blu-ray player has enough resolution so you can still see all the details. But now the problem is when you get something that was made in the Academy aspect ratio, like Gone with the Wind or Citizen Kane, or even an old TV show like this one. That's when you gotta watch out for stretching.
Honey, does this TV make me look fat?
A little.
That's when you gotta get your remote and check your settings. For any movie or TV show you watch, even the cheesy ones, a lot of care went into the composition of every shot. You owe it to the filmmakers, and to yourself really, to try and see any film in its intended format.
Oh, that's more like it.
When the letterbox lines are on the side like that, it's called pillar boxing. Fascinating. Would you like some wine, darling?
Oh, yes, please.
All right, be right back.
Thank you for watching Pocket Film School. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that jazz. And leave me a comment below or a film question if you have one. Special thanks to Jason and Christina who helped me today at the YouTube space.
You can find me at youtube.com/Jason Horton.
And you can find me at youtube.com/badgirlsball.
They're both fantastic.
Hey guys, did you know that Wes Anderson shot the Grand Budapest Hotel in 3 different aspect ratios?
Show off.
I know, right?